Yeah, yeah. Come on. Bass knocking, snares hitting. Only thing missing is the lyrics. Bass knocking, snares hitting. Only thing missing is the lyrics. Talk to me, talk to me, talk to me. Let the beat talk to me, talk to me, talk to me. Talk to me, let the beat talk to me. When I touch the mic, I'm taking care of business. Dropping the bars with it. So LeBron James, you about to witness. I'm versus up and greatness. Took a lot of pace to beat this elevation. All the confidence, I'm facing this for still. So why the negativity can go to hell? Fucking insecurity. I ain't break the bill. Eat the food fresh before it goes stale. On my nose, here, bad to eat. Hard to tell. Pull up a seed. That's sweet to see. No one water, but I think eternal. Jumping over generation curses like a hurdle. Forever for the day that I'm eternal. River, throw it like a fruitful kernel. Master shredder with the party. Beat the strength like Ninja Turtles. Watch me get it off the muzzle, cause my vision be a tunnel. Moving through the rubble. Digging up the gems with the pen, that's my shovel. Bruising up this beast to a mumble. Bass knocking, snares hitting. Only thing missing is the lyrics. Bass knocking, snares hitting. Only thing missing is the lyrics. Talk to me, talk to me. Talk to me, let the beat talk to me, talk to me, talk to me, talk to me, let the beat talk to me. I'm a beast in the booth, on my babe Ruth, getting all the hits, cause I'm speaking truth. No, cause I'm short, but I'm true to the game. Shooting for my goals with the aim of Steph Curry, trying to make a name. I ain't playing games, this ain't PS5, this is real, like you only give a life, ain't no 9 guys. So I can't waste my time on my Jimmy Cricket, let your conscience be your guide the most. I will never lead you fly, even represent it, it's a blessing in disguise. That's a self-off, I try again, you gotta believe that you can fly. Spread the wings wide and watch your blessings rise. Gotta keep fighting too, keep your dream alive. Never let the voices in your head ring, cause you got a lot of greatness within. Let the rain begin, shine on these haters, posing as your friends, cause they just won't pretend, I recommend. Bass knocking, snares hitting. Only thing missing is the lyrics. Bass knocking, snares hitting. Only thing missing is the lyrics. Talk to me, talk to me, talk to me. Let the beat talk to me, talk to me, talk to me, talk to me. Let the beat talk to me. What's good with it? What's good with it, y'all? What's good? You know what time it is? It's Wednesday night at 9 o'clock p.m. Live Talk So Low, same time and place unless I say otherwise. What's good? What's good? So tonight we're going to get into a topic that is not much talked about in hip hop, and that topic is talking about artists that never really took off, artists' careers that never really took off in hip hop. These artists had a hit, they had all the potential in the world, they had a whole bunch of hits, but the career never really took off like it should. So we're gonna talk about that today. I think it's a topic that's not hard to talk about in hip hop, but it should be. And I'm gonna name a few artists. Some of them you might be your favorite artists, and some of them you might recognize, some of you might know, and some of you might not know. But I was thinking about this topic because yesterday, or Monday, excuse me, not Monday, but not yesterday, but Monday, I asked people on my stories on IG, if you follow me on IG, I asked them what topic they want me to talk about. And this topic right here won the most votes, so I said, here we are, we're talking about it. And also, if you want to join in on me on the live screen, you can come on over to my YouTube channel or watching on Twitch. You know, I just broadcast live on YouTube and Twitch. And if you're coming from my IG, you know, you just can go ahead and tap in with me from there. But you can tap me from my IG as well, but you can shoot me a message if you'd like to receive the link to join me on the live screen. So before I dive into the topic, really, tonight's topic, really, just let a few people come in and see what they have to say, and see everybody chime in on the comments and stuff. Pose a question, so I'm asking a question. Name a hip hop artist in the comments who really never really took off. Let me change that up. I can name a few artists myself. Lord Banks. Lord Banks never really his career never really took off. You know, he had a lot of hits. He had quite a few hits. He had a song called "Help" featuring Carrie Hilson. He had "On Fire." The Hunger for More album was very successful, which is one of my favorite albums of hip hop. Definitely a dope album, and I felt like he was one of the best members in G Unit. He had super lyrics, he had punchlines, he had swagger, he had charisma, but his career never really took off. That's one artist's career never really took off. Another one I can name is Jay Quan. He had the song "Everybody in the Club Getting Tipsy." That's, his career never really took off either. He had the song Hood Hop, but it wasn't big as Tipsy. You know, that song Tipsy to this day still gets played, it still gets bumped. And I always played in the movies, and if you grew up around the era I did, you knew how big that song was. But it never really popped after that. You had artists like Jibs who had a hit, Chain Hang Low, he never really hit. You had Kim Folk Keyshine, he had the song I'm So Crispy. That was a dope song. And his career never really took off, so we're gonna talk a little bit tonight about why these artists' careers never really took off. And I love to play some videos. I can find some clips on YouTube. I probably can share it here too, but now YouTube been tripping lately. They put violation. Try not to show you videos at in certain areas. And they say, "Oh, we'll restrict your video in certain areas because you share the script." But I wish they'd go ahead and like put it like fair use, and maybe pay the creator who posted the original content like a royalty fee or something like that. They get like some kind of revenue from me playing the video, because at the end of the day, I mean, I'm not trying to sell this stuff. I'm just sharing the work. Because it relates to what I'm talking about in the topic. So before I get really started, let me go ahead and drop in the comments section the link to join me. And if you can see that, I just dropped the link to join me on the live screen, so you can join me in real time. So if you want to come up on the live and share your thoughts in real time with me, then you're welcome to do so. So I named a few artists. If you just tapping in with me, tonight's topic is about artists who never really took off in hip hop. I named a few artists. I was talking about how Lord Banks' career never really took off. Jibs, Jay Quan's career never really took off. Hey, I'll give you another artist's career never really took off either. Even my family from Star Trek had the song Rock and Roll. I thought that was a dope song. His career never really took off either. I thought he was a pretty dope artist as well. And there's a few other artists that are pretty dope artists that I want to mention later on that careers never really took off like it should. One might even require Memphis Bleak might be the artist. Like, he had hits, he had a couple of albums, he had a few albums that dropped. And, he was around for a little while, but he never really got that recognition that he thought he would have. He kind of always stayed under Jay-Z, he never really got that respect that he had. He had the song Around Here, he had a good hit, but his career never really took off either, really popped off like it should have. Even though he did have successful hits. The Young Guns, another group, their career never really took off either. They had hits, but they really didn't get the notoriety that they should have, or the recognition or the fame that they should have gotten. Even with Tony Yayo, the G Unit, well, G Unit as a whole, even Young Buck, Young Buck had successful album releases though, but I think his career could be bigger than what it is. You can even say Turk from Hot Boys. His career didn't really take off because he got locked up, of course. So we didn't jump like he should have either. And Jay Mills, that's another one. For a long time, they talked about Jay Mills. Jay Mills is known for on the battle rap scene. Like we album gonna drop. I don't think he ever dropped. I'm not sure if his album ever dropped, but I know he was often talked about for a long time as well. He had artists like Reed Dollars, known for his freestyles. His career never really popped. Beginning the Kid, he was a dope artist, but his career never really popped. He really just known for really writing for Lil Wayne. And he wrote the first two Carters, but after he had to follow Lil Wayne's career never really popped off like it should have. I felt like he was a talented artist, but now he's doing a podcast, $1 million worth of game with Wallow. So he got the podcast, but his career really popped off. Another one I could say, Walker Argento. I mean, not to say that talent wise he's not great, but Joe Button, I feel like Joe Button was going to be a big artist too. His first album put me up, after that, he didn't really pop too much, but he was with Slaughterhouse. But after that, he just went to podcasting as well. It seemed like a lot of artists. And what I'm seeing, a lot of artists' careers that never really took off. A lot of them get into podcasting, and they do very well at doing it. So it's not a lose situation, but it's just like in the rapping, you felt like they would be the next big thing, or people were giving them respect, but like they never really got their respect. And it just kind of when it came to the music thing, it just like it kind of just went, and the background just got lost between the noise. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing against them or saying that they weren't good artists or that work ethic wasn't great. Even though, for example, 50 Cent did come out and say about Lil Banks' work ethic was that Lil Banks was lazy. He didn't really put the work in because he wanted things to come to him, and he didn't really embrace the social media era when it was coming to thing. Which 50 Cent had a valid point. I felt like if nobody's would embrace that, and instead of letting things come to him, I just would have embraced the whole thing, post freestyles instead of calling the corner. I think he would have got the recognition and won't be underrated though, because still to this day, the music that he put out is still hot. It's fire. Of course, the Notable, you can check those albums out. Very dope albums. I definitely should check those out. And Halloween Had It 5, that which came out, I think, last year. Very dope album. Definitely check it out. And those mixtapes were the Halloween Habit, that's his mixtapes. He's still releasing those, and I think he's still killing it. But I felt like he would have got the recognition he would have had a lot sooner than if he would have just put the work in or would have embraced the social media thing. Now, I think now he's more social media now, more doing things, getting himself out there now, but it's like, maybe did it earlier, man. Shoot, you would have been dope. The career really took off, And to be honest, out of all the artists that I named earlier, I think Lil Banks would have been the biggest one. I feel like, oh, this man gonna be a big mega star. I thought eventually he's gonna surpass 50 Cent at the time because he's rapping so good and the way his songs came out. I mean, dang, I was like, yo, you thought 50 Cent was good. We all knew 50 Cent had the largest impact in hip hop, but when you heard Lil Banks, it's like, yo, who's this cat? When I was like, who's this guy? So I'm like, dang, this guy gonna be a big star. I'm like, man, people ain't hollering about him. I'm like, why you not mentioning the top 10 lyricists? Why nobody talking about him? Talking about how dope he is, or talking about his albums and stuff. But his career never really popped off. He never became the star that he should have been. That I thought he would have been. And probably a lot of other people think that too, because I have conversations with different people about artists that never really took off. I had this conversation quite a bit, and I decided to want to make it a topic. And it's like a lot of people mention, like, yeah, Lord Banks should have. Lord Banks. I thought his career would have popped off. To me, they always say Lord Banks was the best one in G Unit. He's the most lyrical one, which is true. Anybody that lived in that era will tell you that. It seemed like every time I had that conversation with somebody, they pretty much say the same thing I said. Or agree with my stance on the argument, on the debate is. It's like, yeah, Lord Banks' career should have took off, but it never really took off like it should have, and he's underrated, and he doesn't get the recognition he deserves. But unfortunately, He didn't have the work ethic to go with it. And Speedlow was another artist that career that really took off. He had a song, "I Wish I Was Bald," I wish I was a little bit taller. Song that you hear in the movies. That's all he really have. Not nothing against him, but it's just like yeah, other good music too. And he had an underground hit I used to like, which I wish I could play, but they probably got a copyright strike. But Lil Zane was another artist. Lil Zane thought he was gonna have a promised career. He had the song "Not Getting Done Tonight." So he did 112 on the song "Tonight I'm Yours." His career never really popped off either, and he was in Doctor Dolittle. He had he was in Doctor Dolittle, but his career never popped off like it should have either. I don't know because if he was trying to rap like he was talking on his songs or not, but he had some hits. He was on the Next Friday soundtrack, so that's another artist career never really took off. Noctoria from the West Coast. He had a dope song. He had a dope song that came out, but didn't ever really pop. Thought he would have took off too as well. Shit. You know, who else? I want to go to this clip and see. Maybe let me play this. Uh, Anybody remember Sagard? Sagard, he had a problem with his label. You know, he was pretty good, dope too. I think he would have been a good artist too. He never really had a chance because a lot of times it's not because the artist music sucks or the music not good or they don't have no hits. It's like a lot of times the label shelved them. You've seen the situation with Hobson when Hobson was mainstream. He got shelved. But, with Saigon, Saigon was shelved. He had a problem with his label. Yeah, Saigon had to look in everything. He even had exposure on the TV show on HBO. He was on the TV show. He had the bars and all, but the label held it back. So sometimes it's not because the artist work ethic, it be because the artist label holds them back and shelves their music or just don't push the artist for whatever reason. They don't push the artist like they push the next artist. Like for example, Kid, he was a member of G Unit because they added him to the group when G Unit came back. They added him. He was with Cash Money and Juvenile. But he never really good. He never really got this popularity too either. But he's dope. And I thought he was gonna blow up a little bit after the G Unit, but nah, he didn't. And Soldier Slim really didn't blow up either. RP to Soldier Slim. He don't get killed, but he was with No Limit for a while, but he didn't really get his recognition either uh, till he did Slow Motion with Juvenile. He, I felt like he was a dope artist too, but he got killed. So unfortunately, sometimes when an artist never really pop, the career never really take off. It's not because they won't take off, but it's because tragedy got to beat them to when they got to get famous. Tragedy got it because so Slim had the song "I Pay For It." He had Slow Motion, which Juvenile, right? Slow Motion for me. With Future Soldier Slim, and Soldier Slim died before that song really got popping. Another artist, another big, well-known artist in hip hop that career never really popped off, but had the bars, the talent, the style, had everything, had the sound and all, Big L. But unfortunately, tragedy, tragedy got a hold of him, and he ended up getting killed. He got killed by a childhood friend because something his brother did. So just before Big L was about to blow up, in '99, he got killed. Big L for a long time was on the underground fame. People knew who he was. He was killing on the freestyles. But the 99, 95 freestyle, you need to go and check that out. I wish I could play that. I might just play it anyway. I don't give a fuck. I'm just go ahead and play it anyway because it's definitely need to be heard though. But I'm gonna go ahead and play that the 95 freestyle to show you what I was talking about with Big L. Big L's another example of an artist who never really took off, but people know who he is, and he had quite a bit of songs, classic songs, that were underground classics. And anybody a big hip hop head that just really listen to hip hop like that will know who Big L is and know that that man was on his way, but tragedy, like I said, tragedy got there first, and he ended up getting killed by his childhood best friend. When down for that, never really got to see his fame blow up, but to this day, people bump his music.
Rent a car from our newest fleet yet. Your real car never has to know. Brought to you by Rogue.
Just check it out. Yo, check it. Yo, I got slugs for snitches. No love for bitches. Putting thugs in ditches with my trigger finger itches. I got a rep to make police jet. Known to get a pre-sweat. I never beg for pussy like Keith Sweat. It's Big L, slow hell no. Bitches get fucked on a roof when I ain't got no hotel dough. I'm known for yoking Japs and beating them with smoking cats. Leaving token blacks with broken backs and open caps. So with that bullshit, steps to the rear, son. The last thing you want with Big L is a fair one. Cause in the street brawl, I strike men like lightning. You seen what happened in my last fight, friend? I beat kids with lead pipes. I leave trails of dead mics where I'm from. Niggas Jews get ran like red lights. Old folks get mugged and raided. Crimes are drug related. And we live by the street rules that thugs created. Clowns get smoked about 1,000 folks and selling pounds of coke. Front in this town and get a text stuck down your throat. I'm telling you, shit is about to get drastic soon. I'm quick to blast a goon and break a motherfucker like a plastic spoon. I got the looks to make your hottie stare. I keep a shotty near. It's that nigga with naughty hair who got him fear. Tracks I'm known to roast until the microphone is ghost. Props I own the most. I'm leaving niggas comatose. Run and get your brain pinched. Big L, I have your whole gang list. I started smoking dust and been insane since. This rap shit was a great gift. The other night some snake ripped and got a hot lead facelift. All through high school I had braids. I kept mad blades. Stabbing teachers to death. They gave me bad grades. I cooked the mic like a beef steak cause my technique's great. And I'm the nigga police hate in each state. Cause I'm the neighborhood lamper. Punk rubber vamper. Fuck around you find my silk boxes in your mother's hamper. Cops drop when my Glock makes the pow sound. I'm from a wild town. You know my style, clown, so bow down. Word up.
Say what?
95 style. I got my man Jay-Z here.
Jay-Z.
Check it out now. Check it out now. Hey yo, brothers can beg and borrow, still feel sorrow when Jay-Z like Zorro. Get in that ass, better luck tomorrow. I'm too much, nigga, so never should you rush. You need to slow down or get your ass toe down. Check it out, I'm too cocky to stop me, you gotta kill me. And when I'm gone, you can still feel me. On the real beat, this shit is eternal, I rock the heavens well. Even if they won't let me in heaven, I raise hell till it's heaven. Recognize the black cat with the 9 lives. Get up off me, nigga, it's bad luck to cross me. I'm popping crystal, shooting game like missiles, ass protected or hoes affected by this step. I'm act like Goldie, go back like the oldie, but the goodie, pulling R&B bitches, wearing hoodies. They don't be knowing the way I be flowing. When I be going, I be running the track like Jesse Owens. I disrupt the natural scheme, the way that you do things with a swing and have them rocking like You say never you run, if ever you come, it's never you run. So fast in your life to never have one. Come on and ride the rhythm. I produce like jism, just like the gods. I start with knowledge and follow with wisdom. For greater understanding, I'm landing, blows in, knocking sense into those that oppose me. Enticing when slicing through tracks, you're screaming Jesus Christ is back, and God knows he can rap. Me and L put rhythm on the map, so give him his dap. And me, I just take mine. Give me those, give me this, give me that. Fuck that. You never see me stress. Energy, yes, on the prize. My greedy eyes can't see no less. Jigger incredible. Even my thoughts is federal, like kidnapping, extortion, and corruption. So you know, beating me, I never come like a nun or tomorrow. I'm too thorough, nigga. I make moves, cause vows to move when I'm creeping through your way with 1,000 little dudes. With a piece like Islam, I make your eyes rise like geese. Surprise, I feel no fear when facing y'all. Bet your lyrics jump off the track like racing cars. MCs trying to be the best, and even in dying couldn't beat his death. I see no reason to stop cheesing ever.
But that was just happened on the freestyle that I was talking about. Big L, featuring Jay Z. That's a y'all Jay Z. It was back in the '90s, the early '90s when Jay Z was up and coming. Before Jay Z became old that we know him now. As this is Big L was popping. Big L was well known in the New York circuit, the underground circuit, making waves, getting his name out there, and starting to be a mainstream success. And by the time, like I said earlier, '99, that's when he came with a big picture. He was getting ready to finally get the taste of mainstream success where everybody worldwide knew who he was. He gets killed by his childhood best friend. So, tragedy took him away before his career could really take off. So, so unfortunately for him, he never really seen it in another artist that people know that now that's on the battle rap circuit still. Cassidy. Cassidy was known for battle rapping. He had a few hits. And his career really took off, and it's not no fault to him to say that his music wasn't good enough. Cassidy had some hits too. I'm drinking my two step. I'm a hustler. That's a big song. That's out of Jay Z voice for one of Jay Z's hit songs. And Cassidy's career never really took off either. And it's not. I'm gonna say that it's his fault because during the time when Cassidy was around coming out, hip hop at the time was dominated by Jay Z, 50 Cent, and Lil Wayne. So that's no fault to Cassidy because Cassidy, he had the bars, he had the music, he had the sound, but just his career didn't take off because at the time, the competition, you had 50 Cent and Lil Wayne and Jay Z, taking over the game. So this is still in the early 2000s. So no fault to him. When you going up against that, it's tough to go against that. Hip hop is a very competitive industry. So sometimes it's not because the artists don't have the talent or the work ethic. It's just their music get overshadowed because people focusing on this. That's what people want. Or, the competition is very intense. So, and sometimes it goes like that in hip hop. It's not always the artist's fault. As I said earlier, sometimes it's just the timing. It's just the time era that he's in now. I think if Cassidy was coming out now, or he went back to making music or just making albums now, he might get more recognition now because we're in a time where now that artists are not really, have more of the era now where it's just more about a vibe now, but people are starting to go back, wanting to hear lyrics and bars and punchlines and songs and all that. Cassidy has that, so Cassidy probably have a better success now. And our people are looking for that because in my last talk I talked about how OGs taking over the hip hop game, and the OGs are taking over the game and getting more all the recognition, and getting all the fans, and also not all the shows, and getting all the screens because the music they're putting out, because people want to hear actually art in their lyrics now. So I think now that Cassidy really start pushing music heavily, I think he will see a lot of success, a lot more success than he did in the past. Because it's also a success. Because like I said, I'm a hustler. That was a big hit for him. Hotel, the song Hotel, they had R. Kelly. That was a good hit too. So it's not always the artist's fault. And now for some artists, some artists are just internet buzz, not longevity. Hurricane Chris, good example, Hey Baby, he had the song Holla Berry. Some artists are just truly one hit wonders. And I thought Hurricane Chris was gonna have a career because he came Hey Baby, then he came Holla Berry. Holla Berry, you couldn't stop playing that song everywhere. They played it at the club everywhere. They even had a dance to it. They even had that on the Ellen show. Even Holla Berry herself caught the attention of Holla Berry herself. When he made that song, I'm like, yo, that's a big song. You're a hip hop artist. You gonna go somewhere, going places when you got Halle Berry herself. When you make a song about her, Halle Berry herself, you can dance to it. And the Ellen show brings it up. Ellen brings it up. Say, caught attention of Ellen. Ellen was big TV host at the time, and that song caught her attention. And they was even showing different clips. And if you just look at them on YouTube, if you don't believe me, go on YouTube and type in on the Ellen show, Halle Berry dance to Halle Berry. And you see the clips that are showing of many kids dancing to that song. But unfortunately, it's an internet buzz, and it never really took off. But you probably still eating off those hits, most likely. And you had a couple some other songs too. You had a song called Headboards that featured Mario and Plies. I feel like that song was a hit, but didn't get any recognition. Sometimes, like I said, just the competition is very intense in hip hop. Another artist I could say that was internet buzz. They had a song that I thought would have took his career off, Trinidad James. Golden all on my chain, all in all on my watch. Beat was hard, song was catchy. Played that song everywhere. And that's when I was in the military. I remember that song. Every time I go in the club, that song was played everywhere. That song stayed on the radio, stayed in people's playlists. Anytime we went to a party anywhere, they always play that song where that video pops up. When you walk in the store, that's in that song. But not so much anymore. Some artists just had that one hit wonder, and they're just an internet buzz, an internet sensation. And I mean, living against them is just it just fizzle out. But I say this to say this that hip hop is a very competitive industry, and competition is very intense. So sometimes it's not because the artists don't have the talent; it's just so much good music that's out there, or so much music that's out that sometimes some artists just kind of get lost in the noise, just fizzle out because maybe that artist just might have a little more, or just a simple fact. A lot of times they might have a better label situation, or they might have more marketing behind them too, because marketing plays a big thing in it too. And a lot of times it's not because this artist is better than that artist, it's because of the marketing. So that plays a part in it too. Sometimes they have shitty deals, shitty situations, or just in songs are marketing right, or they didn't capitalize off the buzz that they had, or they didn't think they was gonna get that much buzz off what they had, so it just kind of fizzle out, which happens a lot. But I'm gonna go ahead and close out. But before I get out of here, to keep this conversation going, to keep this debate going, if you missed the live, you could just drop in the comments of some artists that I didn't name who careers you thought really took off. I mean, there's no wrong or right answer. I love to hear your thoughts. You can share them in the comments on this video, or you can talk about what you heard in the video tonight with me, and you can share your thoughts. Or if you got a difference of opinion, you can share it with me. You can talk about it. Or if you like to come on the live and join me, I do this every Wednesday now. Next Wednesday I won't be live because I got a event I got to attend. So this Wednesday I won't be going live, but following Wednesday I'll be going live. So if you want to join in on the debate and add to it, or if you know artists that I might have missed and never talked about, hey, just drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Y'all be blessed. I'll see you week at the next, same time and place, unless I say otherwise. Peace.